Good evening, Davie. How are you doing, old pal?
I'm all right.
I'm very well. You don't look any different than you did when I met you on Tuesday.
You got a bit of a tan.
No, it's just a light.
I thought it was all that sunshine on Tuesday.
Yeah, it was warm, wasn't it? A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? Nice to see so many people joining us tonight already. Please remember to share. Hit the share button for us. That would be great. So we've got two fantastic guests for you tonight. Really looking forward to it. Our first guest tonight is Scott Figgins, and our second guest is Ewan Galloway. So we're going to have a smashing night on Scottish Sessions tonight in Tartan Tunes. Remember, we're going out live on 3 Facebook channels: Tunes in the House, Peterwood Music, and Tartan Tunes. Mm-hmm. We're also live on Tartan Tunes YouTube. You can watch it on the big screen if you want.
The big telly.
The big telly. And we're also on Twitter. So, there we go. Hello, folks. Keep sending all your messages in, please. It's absolutely wonderful to see your messages and tell us where you are. We always like to know where everybody is. It's great for us to keep in touch with things. Yeah, we've had a great week. I had a wee gig that I had to go down and do on Tuesday night in Braemar. Well, it wasn't really a wee gig. It was quite a cool gig. It was for the Unst Space Centre, the Shetland Space Centre. Were hosting an evening at an event just outside Braemar in Invercold House. And there was some of the top scientists and celebs from all over the world there, and unfortunately, I'm sad to say that I didn't know an awful lot of the names at all, but they're all absolute specialists in their fields and Nobel Peace Prize winners and all sorts of things. So I said to Davie I was coming down, and he says, we've never met yet. So Davie drove up for Dundee and picked me up at Aberdeen Airport, took me to Braemar, and it was magic, wasn't it? We got a chance to actually just meet up and say hello.
Chew the fat.
Chew the fat. And then we had another wee opportunity to meet Dale Johnson. Dale's involved with Music from Scotland as well, the other channel that I play on a Thursday night at 9 o'clock. Andy Kane and me playing that one. And Dale is also, in charge of Braemar Media. So he's invited us down, and he was a wonderful man to meet. Bought us a wonderful lunch, and then out we went exploring in Braemar, didn't we?
We did that.
Armed with pipes and accordion.
And you managed to make an older woman very, very happy, didn't you?
I did. I serenaded the Margaret, I think the lady's name was Margaret. I serenaded Margaret in the Braemar Gathering Highland Games Field, or whatever you got. What's it called?
Is it the arena? I don't know. Actually, it's called it's called the Princess Royal.
Oh yes, you're right.
Park or something like that.
That was right. You're right. We did notice that in the way in, didn't we? So it was really nice. So unfortunately the Queen wasn't there, but we were, and I serenaded Margaret, and it was lovely. And as you say, it was fair warm and nice and hot. And we were lucky enough to deal with some really good camera equipment. And he said, lads, why not play some tunes together? We'll record it and see how it goes. So obviously, we'd never ever practiced together.
Nope.
In fact, we'd never met each other in the flesh before. But we said, yeah, what a good idea. Let's give it a go. So this is as authentic as you're going to get it. This is just us sitting having a tune. This is in front of one of the pavilions.
It's the pavilion, yeah. It's recently reopened.
What did we play here again? We played
Ducat Park and McNeil's of Ugadale, or vice versa.
Yeah,
No, it wasn't. Right. It was not. It was McNeil's of Ugadale and Cock of the North.
That's right. That's what we played. Ducat Park got shelved. Right. So here you go, folks. Here's Davie and I's premiere performance. Together, our audience consisted of 2 people and a Doug.
It was a nice Doug, though.
It was a lovely Doug. It didn't howl or anything. So here you are. A couple of 6/8 marches for Braemar Gathering Park in front of the pavilion.
Here we go.
Woohoo!
Oh.
There was maybe 3 people there, actually. The clapping sounded like 3 people. Either that or Doug was clapping. I'm not sure. Anyway, there we go. That was brilliant fun. We had a great day. We've got quite a lot of other tracks recorded as well.
We do.
So
we do. Some are better than others.
some are interesting, but they're live, folks, and that's what it's all about. And it's just having a tune. So we've had a great wee week. It's been really good. And I'm back at school. Ali Meek says that was good. That's because he hopes you're going to pay him for putting your kitchen in.
He's no fish yet.
No, well, that's brilliant. Right, listen, we've got 2 great guests, as I said tonight. I think we should just get the first guest on. We're bringing on Piper tonight as our first guest. Piper, whistle player, guitar player. And we're about to find out if he's got any other talents as well. Mr. Scott Figgins. Hello, Scott.
How's it going?
I'm not bad. How are you getting on?
Not too bad at all, not too bad. Nice to be here.
Brilliant. Now tell us, for all our visitors overseas, etc., you're in Irvine. Irvine's down in Ayrshire in Scotland, is that right? Yes.
Yeah, in the southwest of Scotland. It's not a bad wee place, I suppose.
No, brilliant. And traditional music, is traditional music quite a strong scene down your way as well? Because Irvine was famous a way back in history, wasn't it, for a folk festival at one point? I've heard a lot of people speaking about it.
Yeah, so we've got the Minimus Festival that we have every year. That's sort of celebrating when obviously Queen Mary came to Irvine, and we still have the folk festival every year for about a week, usually in August kind of time, so it's just passed. Obviously Burns is sort of Ayrshire kind of way as well, you know, he's South Ayrshire, but also sort of celebrated obviously all over, you know, but but there's plenty happening.
Did they manage to have a festival this year then, did they?
I think they had a couple of small concerts, obviously nothing of the scale that they usually do, but it usually draws quite a lot of folk, you know, because they're from folk club as well, you know, which is celebrating, I think it celebrated its 50th anniversary. Not only a year or 2 ago, so I mean it's a pretty good scene, to be honest.
It's something that always kind of amuses me a little bit. Shetland has a massive folk festival, but we don't have a folk club. There's no folk club in Shetland. It's quite strange. You'd think there would be a folk club, wouldn't you? And occasionally they put on events. Maybe I remember seeing Eric Bogle and people like that the folk festival had brought up. But no, there's not an actual folk club. There's an accordion fiddle club. But
touring for the musicians coming up that way as well, anyway.
So I suppose bringing everybody up for a festival is one thing, but bringing people up once a fortnight, that's quite expensive, etc. So tell us, where did your interest in music come from, Scott? You started in pipe bands, I think, in the piping world, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, no one's entirely sure where I got the piping pipe from. I started learning to play the chanter in the Irvine District Pipe Band. It was George McKean was the pipe major at the time, and John Easdale was sort of the main kind of guy that taught me. And they're still in the band. They were founding members, which I think was sometime in the 70s. I mean, those guys are still going strong and everything, you know. So I was very lucky that obviously the way it was, like pipe bands, you know, free tuition and instruments and everything. And I was pretty lucky to have that available to learn. You know?
I think that's something that's amazing actually when you look at it in the history of pipe bands. Yeah, as you said, free tuition, getting instruments, all that kind of stuff. There's not many instruments you can learn or genres of music that you don't have to invest heavily in. Where the piping is all free and instruments free usually to begin with, and then you just pay for it for the rest of your life after that, really, don't you?
It's not a cheap hobby, is it?
No, I think that's what an awful lot of people don't realise about pipe bands is they're completely voluntary. There's nobody there's not many anyway, if anybody making livings out of being in a pipe band, you know, as a obsessive hobby, really, in a way.
Yeah.
Very addictive. So from there, we'll talk about other pipe bands, because you went on to join other bands after Irvine through the years. What grade were Irvine in as a band?
They were in the grade 4B. So
Okay.
I was with Irvine for about 10 years, I think it was.
Okay.
So I sort of went from complete beginner, and then by the time that I sort of moved on, I was the pipe sergeant for a couple of years, and we were doing pretty well, you know. Like, we sort of worked our way through obviously the competitions and things like that, and I'd been out in the parades every weekend. I always remember August being the longest month. I think we'd have the Worlds one weekend, the Minimus next weekend, and that parade would be, I think we'd meet about 8 o'clock in the morning, and we'd be finished by 6 at night. Suburban.
That's a normal shift.
Exactly.
and then Carol right at the end of the month.
Weekend. So I remember 3 weekends in a row. We'd have the Irvine pipe band support crew, all the mums and dads, and all in the room with all these bottles of water.
Completely skint by the end of August. We've got a few tracks here that you've sent on to Davie that we're going to listen to tonight as well. Davie, what are we going to have first from Scott here?
We're going to make it a bit different, because you also play guitar, don't you, Scott? You're probably more known as a guitarist now as well, rather than on the pipes.
Yeah, I would say probably equally as much. I play plenty of gigs with the guitar and the whistles as well. I picked up the guitar. I did it through school and stuff, but never any trad stuff. And then I picked up the guitar, like the trad kind of style, pretty much just before I started the conservatoire. And then I was lucky to get lessons in the pipes, the whistle, and the guitar for 4 years at the conservatoire. So quite lucky from that perspective. But yeah, I play guitar pretty much as I do pipes now.
But I think to be a working musician, that's a really good thing to.
Absolutely, yeah. Having the melody side and the accompaniment side as well, you know, it's
absolutely, and it opens you up to playing a variety of different situations, because just being a piper or a lead player, it's quite hard to fill your diary with work just doing that.
Absolutely,
you can double up. You can.
If you've got a bigger skill set, you're more available to more folk, basically, you know.
Absolutely.
So this first video is yourself and Scott Garden.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a bit about the tunes and about the video?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, Scott and I, we grew up playing together came up through the Irvine Pipe Band, and we're sort of been best pals for a long time. And we both went to the conservatoire in the same year. And obviously graduated as well. So we started playing. We used to go around the pipe band Cayley, like different wee things as the Red Scott Chili Pipers. I cringe about when I think about it. We were also known as the Height of Nonsense at one point as well.
That could more likely, yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Height of Nonsense.
So we used to have great crack together, and then we started playing sort of more professionally kind of gigs as the Scott Figgins and Scott Garden kind of duo. With me and the guitar, Scott and the pipes and whistles. The video you're going to play, the first tune is one called Peter Martin's, and Peter was a piper in the Irvine band as well. And then it's into The Road to Erigi afterwards, which is a tune by fiddler Adam Sutherland.
Good part.
Here we go. Let's have a listen.
Magic.
Cool. Well, fantastic. Great play.
I just want to point out a quick comment that just came in. Apparently, that's Ali Hutton's old guitar.
You can't have it back.
You're not getting it back, Ali. Tough. Right, guys. We've all sold instruments, Ali, that we regret selling. Don't worry about it. No, that's fantastic play. Really, really nice stuff.
Yeah, that was filmed in the McCallum Bagpipes factory, actually.
All right, okay. Well, I was going to speak about that in a minute. The album that you guys done, Horizontal.
Yeah, it's a 4-track EP we brought out.
Right. Okay. 2019.
Yeah, that was it. During the Pipe and Live Festival.
Right.
We'd love to do an album as well. I think if we both just sat down and got on with it, we've got loads of material, and we've been playing together for so long. I love playing with Scott because it's quite natural, and it's I think it's just because we've been playing together for so long.
The thing is, in a way, that album or EP that you've got there just now is relatively a brand new EP, really, because we're kind of writing off the last 2 years, and
exactly. I know
we've not had a chance to go out, so there'll be an awful lot of people not even maybe aware that that's available.
Yeah.
So, best place to hopefully source that is from your website, or there'll be links where to get it from. Is that the best way to go there?
Totally, yeah. I mean, we've got I've got my website there. We've got a Facebook page called Figgins Garden with a hyphen in the middle. If you want to look there, and we sell plenty of EPs and stuff. Links to the National Pipe Centre and all that, stocks them too.
Right. If you're interested in an album, you're involved with another band as well that we're going to speak about. In fact, you're involved with lots of things because that's what's happening just now to you. Another band we're going to speak about later on. But if you like that sound, that was good. Tell me a wee bit about the McCallum's factory. You've had quite an association with McCallum's now.
I started working there almost 7 years ago, actually.
Right.
Well, I was a student. I used to just do like on my Saturdays. Well, I was in uni Monday to Friday, and then in McCallum's on the weekend. And it sort of grown arms and legs from there. Obviously, during the course of this past year, when self-employment wasn't much at all, having McCallum's there was a godsend, you know. Stuart and Kenny, the guys there. They're brilliant, really good at very sort of accommodating, because they know that I like to do lots of things.
Yeah, it's been an incredibly successful company now as well over the
absolutely.
Producing quality instruments, putting them all over the world. So it's been very interesting and quite innovative. They're always trying new things, and I think you've been involved with that a wee bit as well, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. My fourth year project for my degree, I worked on investigating sort of different styles of tuning on the Highland pipes, and then sort of working on developing a new Highland pipe chanter that could accommodate different styles of tuning. So that's the B flat chanter that the factory sells now, and we're always tweaking it. We're always looking for little things that we can improve.
Do you not feel that we're speaking with a few pipers about this, but I think, was it Robert Matheson that said to us, Davie, that he thought the pitch was maybe starting to come down a wee bit again, and he thought quite glad to hear that in a way almost, because it was getting a wee bit high that you couldn't play along with anything for a wee while.
Exactly, yeah. You could be, I mean, I think we're sort of getting so close to B.
Yeah, we call it in the cracks. We would call it, you know, the crack between the keys on a piano. It's in there somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
So if any pitch instruments you're stuck.
Yeah, the big issue that you have at the moment is that some of the lower grade bands are feeling that they're being penalised for playing flatter. Yeah. Because the sharper sound, or the sharper pitch, is drawing the ear more at competitions. So they want to kind of, that's why grade one and grade two are the ones that are kind of pushing the pitch up. But in the same instance, an adjudicator that goes and judges grade 2 and then in the afternoon is judging grade 4 is still expecting that kind of that pitch. I think that's where the kind of issues are rising at the moment. But
also, as the pitch goes up, you lose volume as you gain pitch. So if you've got a smaller band, the grade 4 bands, they need that breadth of sound from a flatter pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've been busy there, you've been working away at Macallan's, and then you got interested in folk music as well between school and then ended up at uni. But you said to me earlier that you kind of got into folk a wee bit before going to uni. So that obviously was an influence on why you went to uni, kind of style thing.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, I started hearing the playing of the likes of Gordon Duncan, Martin Bennett, Finlay MacDonald, these kind of pipers. These are the kind of guys that really drew me in. And I think it was in my last couple of years of school. There was a traditional music group run by Gillian Frame, who is a fiddle player. She ran the traditional music group, and sort of I played the small pipes, with obviously the fiddles, the guitars, the harps, the singers. And that was sort of my first exposure to playing and that kind of stuff, and I just fell in love with it straight away. And then obviously when you go to the conservatoire, you get such a broad range of what you can do, whether you want to go a solo piping kind of route, if you want to be more traditional kind of things. And I certainly decided to sort of hone in on the trad side, and that's my niche anyway.
Magic. I think we'll have another wee track just now, and then we'll talk about some uni, and then we've got too much to talk about you here, actually. There's loads of things. You're making yourself very, very interesting. What are we going for this time, Davie?
I think we're going to hear a new whistle tune from you. I think it was called Braithwaite Place.
Yeah, Brathwaite Place. I wrote this a few years ago, actually. It's the name of the street in Brodick, in Isle of Arran, where my grandparents used to stay. I wrote this a few years ago in the whistle, and I'd like to do more with it. I played it with Scott, actually. We've done a couple of wee gigs on it, but we haven't recorded it yet. So I think hopefully that'll be in the works.
If you meet up with Davie and me in Braemar Gathering Park, we'll play along with you as well. That's all right.
There we go.
we just, whenever we turn up, we just play these days. It seems to be the way it's happening. So.
That's not a bad thing at all.
Well, we're taking the chance while we can. It's been pretty grim for the last couple of years. So, in fact, do you know something, Davie? I never said this earlier, Davie. I'm a bit tired tonight. I've done 2 weddings this weekend, one on Friday night, one on Saturday night playing, and that was the first gigs in a year and a half. And,
just think, you're 2 years older than you were last time.
Talk about musically unfit, though. See, I thought you couldn't get unfit playing the accordion. I know you can with the pipes, if you leave them too long and you go back. But I bet there's going to be a lot of unfit blowers going back to the pipes after this break.
It took me 6 weeks to get back to
There's going to be a lot of sore gums and cheeks.
Yeah.
6 weeks, that's pretty good.
It was 6 weeks up to compete in fire. Yep.
What's your list?
We're going to have this track. Here we go.
Good stuff.
lovely tune.
What tune? Yeah, really nice.
That was my girlfriend and her family are from Stricker in Argyll. That was from their back gardens. They've got a lovely view.
I remember playing in Strucker about 35 years ago once, and I remember that.
What was
It was
that?
a wee hall. Village Hall, yeah, it was lovely.
Oh,
It was a great wee night there.
Aye, it's a grand hall we've got, the was up for a bit of music, which is great.
Yeah. Fantastic. So, you went to the Conservatoire in Glasgow.
Yeah.
To do the 4-year course of trad music.
Quick question. Somebody's asked the question of, give me 2 seconds to find it. It was along the lines of how many instruments you have to learn or be able to play to go to the Conservatoire.
When I applied, you had to have obviously your first instrument, and you had to have a second instrument, and that was part of my audition. So I played pipes and guitar for that. But I think that the degree has changed a little bit now. It's not necessary to have a second instrument. As long as you've got your pipes, fiddle, whatever your main study is, as long as you've got that, you're good to go. As long as you pass the audition. But most people generally do take a second instrument. So I auditioned with pipes and guitar, and then they introduced something called related study, which was something that you could take. It's like a third instrument almost that was related to your principal study. So for me, that was the whistle. So I was on the guitar, the whistle, and the pipes. I was trailing myself into uni every day. I had my rucksack, I had a set of pipes and this or another here, the guitar hanging off.
Yeah, so that was quite. So now, if they're just doing one instrument, they must be hitting. Are they getting? It must be. What standard do you have to be when you go in, or are they looking at the standard they're going to make you better by the time you leave? Or
I'm not entirely sure what they're. It's quite a vigorous kind of process, and there's a lot of people apply, and I believe the years are getting bigger now. I think they're taking on more and more people.
Right.
So at the time when I applied, my entire year group had 14, and that's the biggest they've ever been. The year before, sometimes there were only about 7 or 8 people in a year. But I think they're taking on more and more people now because obviously the scene is just so good in Scotland, particularly in Glasgow, or obviously all over. But the scene is so strong, and more people are taken to traditional music. Obviously, we've got all these. Obviously, we've got also the Fashion movements. And the Scottish Pipes and Schools Drumming Trust. These kind of things that are more and more people are taking traditional music, and more people are wanting to take it as a career as well.
I mean, we've spoken about it and mentioned it in this term. Glasgow is a great melting pot now for traditional music. There's a lot going on, and there is in Dundee, I think, as well, Davie, isn't there? There's a lot going on over your way as well.
Yeah, it's getting there. We get a lot of Irish students for the medical degrees and things like that, so we get a lot of them coming across. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and traditional music, obviously, up here in Shetland's pretty strong. There's a lot of stuff going on up here, whether it's to do with the remoteness as well, and just out the way a wee bit. But
when you're talking about obviously the Conservatoire and the melting pot, we're going to see another video from a band. Was it a band? Was Eriska kind of happened during the Conservatoire days? Did it?
Yeah, that was sort of as I think I was in my third or fourth year at that point. As the sort of the group of us, Julian, the bass player, he studied the jazz degree.
Yeah.
He's a jazz bass player, and then Aileen, the accordion player, she went through the classical degree. Madeline, who plays the fiddle, she did the trad degree with myself. And then the drummer, Gavin, he didn't go to the Conservatoire, but he's sort of a more kind of rocky kind of style, and so is the guitarist, Dario as well. But
I hope you weren't nasty to the drummer because he didn't go to uni and all that.
He just we just had to be pretty careful what we said.
Well, it was really interesting. I met a chap last week, Alistair Morrison, who done portraits, photographs of all the huge rock stars all his life. That's what he's done. And we were talking about bands and things getting together, and he said one of the things he'd always noticed was drummers usually ended up in a band by just happening to be where they were at the time. It was kind of like, wait a minute, we need a drummer. Who knows a drummer? And all of a sudden, this guy gets picked, and there he is, and he's now in the Beatles or something, you know. It's just the way it goes.
To be fair, they did have a conversation with Ringo Starr, and they asked him, "Is he the best drummer?" And John Lennon said he's not even the best drummer in the Beatles.
Yeah.
So that tells you a lot. So we're going to hear a track from Erskat called D-Socks. Do you want to tell us about that?
What kind of pipes you're playing? What kind of pipes is it you're playing on this track?
So these are Fred Morrison reel pipes, or usually known just as border pipes. These are the ones that I make down at McCallum's, or I work on anyway.
Is that what you were playing earlier as well, Davie?
Yeah.
Same thing, same pipe.
I think my set's older than Scott's.
Right.
Mine are from 2006.
If it makes you feel any better, I first picked up a chanter in 2005.
Davie, you're getting old, son.
So on that note, we're going to Scott. So tell us about this track then, Scott.
Yeah, so the tune was written by box player Sam Mabbott. He's from somewhere in the north of England, northeast. And he wrote the tune, and it's an odd time signature tune, so it cuts between, I think it goes 7/8 to 10/8 to 5/8, back to 7/8 and into 9/8, and then it's changing all the time. And then we rewrote we took the original, rewrote it as a polska in 3/4, and then Julian, who played in Eriska, he's from Argentina, so we rearranged at the end as a samba. In 4/4. So we took that tune and we sort of played around with it a wee bit. And
I think I could manage to comprehend the 5 to 8 one. That's time. That's it.
Just don't try and time your flute.
10/8. My goodness, where's that going? Right.
Well, let's find out.
Here it goes.
Here we go.
Yeah, very, very good. Excellent sound. Really good stuff. I wouldn't have liked to march along the road. I wouldn't have liked to march along the road in a pipe band to the 7/8 so I'm not sure how we get on there.
Do it before we go on tour again.
Really tight sound. Really, really nice. Loads of nice comments going on there.
It was good. Enjoyed it. That's a good fun one to play. It's always good watching folk in the audience trying to go like this.
Killing flies.
That's what it is.
Brilliant. So, the pipe band world, were you still involved with that even when you were at university then? You were still playing?
Yeah. So at that point, I left Irvine Pipe Band. I was living in Glasgow, joined the pipe band tour 2 at the time. I was there for a good few years actually. Great bunch of folk and many a good night out had everything as well. And then we won. Well, we worked our way up. We grade 2, worked our way up to grade 1. We won the Europeans and the Worlds in grade 2, and moved up to grade 1. Unfortunately, it's kind of fallen away. The band's fallen away a wee bit at the moment.
And then you done a season with Glasgow Police as well.
Yes, that was. I can't remember what year that was, but that was a good learning experience anyway.
Absolutely, yeah. And presently now you're signed up to Shots and Lighthead.
Yeah, I was saying that I've joined the Shots Pipe Band, but I've yet to see the band hall.
yeah, but you're kind of if you get a stamp, you don't need a COVID passport. You just kind of need a pipe band passport, and you can get a stamp for each one as you go along.
Yeah,
it was interesting. We were talking about that. A lot of younger players have played with quite a few bands nowadays. Whereas it was back to Robert Matheson said he surprised me that night when he said he'd only ever played with 2 bands in his whole life.
Really?
Before he was piping into the Shots, he played with Paul Kemet, and then he played with Shots, and then he done that 1 year with Simon Fraser University. But he'd only ever played, and that's amazing when you think somebody has stature going right through so many years of just playing with 2 bands.
Yes, amazing.
But there is a lot of people moving about now and changing bands.
For me, it's a great chance just to play with new folk and play with different pipe majors, play different music. It's just a good learning experience, It's great just to learn new.
So what projects have you got under your belt? We've all had a quiet time recently, obviously, but we're all starting to gear up a bit again. And so have you got any projects under the belt?
Well, loads of bits and bobs. Obviously, we're chatting about what I do with Scott. We're hoping to sort of start working on an album soon. Eriska, we've just finished recording a new EP. I think 4 or 5 tracks on it. That's been really good. And that was sort of music we wrote before the lockdown, sort of the beginning 2020, end 2019. And we played a couple of gigs with some of the new stuff, but we've worked on recording it more recently. So we're pretty much good to go with that quite soon.
Fantastic. But when you're talking about composition, we've got a wee thing we're highlighting at half time tonight, as we'd call it, half time, between artists for a piping competition, for a composition competition.
It's hard
I know what I'm trying to say, lads. It's all right. For Lockery Games, and you'll see the wee advert we're going to play for that. So you get the pen out, because I think what's prize money for it? Is it not about £500?
There's a first prize only of £500. Yeah.
Yeah, for a tune.
Consider
so you'll see the advert coming up. So it's good. But that's great if you get back out onto the road and start playing a bit again.
Yeah. I've got my kid has been the last weeks as well. So I think we've had about 5-6 Kayleys in the past the past 3-4 weeks, really. So I've been pretty lucky that that's coming back. So I think it's nice to be back out again.
Yeah, I was out playing, and it's funny. It was great to play again, but I still felt there was a little bit of there's a wee bit of an atmosphere that's different, because people are obviously still thinking, is this okay? Is this, can I do this? Can I do that?
Okay,
but folk will grow into it gradually, and that'll be good. That'll be good. I think we've got another track here for you before we finish up tonight.
Yeah, we've got a night kind of back to basic. We've got a set that you've called Fred's Tunes.
Aye, a couple of tunes by Fred Morrison.
That's why they're called Fred's Tunes. I get it now, Davey. I get it. Can somebody tell me in the border pipes why the bass drone's so long?
Because the bass drone.
But it looks horrendously long, though. It looks fair long.
You consider that compared to your Highland bass drone?
Is it not as long as the Highland bass drone? No.
No.
Is it not? Really? Yeah, it just looks long when you're playing them. Right, okay.
Yeah. Aye. Also with the border pipes, you've got your tenor drone, you've got your bass, but then you've got an alto, which is the fifth above.
Oh, yes, of course, yes.
That's with the Highlands, obviously you get your two tenors and the bass.
I'm away to measure my Henderson's bass drone here and see what it's like. That's it. Anyway, right, Fred's Tunes.
Good stuff.
Yes. Lovely playing, sir. Lovely playing.
Thanks very much.
Lovely sounding pipe as well. What pipes is that you're playing there?
That's a set of McCallums,
Yeah.
set of silver McCallums that I picked up. They were actually so Stuart McCallum, the owner of McCallum Bagpipes, he made them for himself
Right.
years and years ago when he started the business, and they were his pipes, and I took them off his hands a couple of years ago when they've been sitting sort of unplayed for a while, you know. But other a cracking set of tunes, nice
Sounding
chance.
lovely. Lovely playing, lovely sound of pipe, excellent. Scott, all we can do is wish you all the best for the future with all your projects. Hope things all pick up again. I think we're going in the right direction, hopefully. And thanks so much for coming on. The one wee thing I also wanted to just mention was you're in the semi-finals this year for the BBC Trad Folk Musician.
Yes,
so congratulations with that.
Thanks very much. I am looking forward to it. It's on the Saturday, the 2nd of October, and I believe it's going to be live on BBC Alaba and BBC Radio Scotland.
Well, that's fantastic. Nice coverage, nice coverage. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you're looking for something today, Saturday the 2nd of October, you'll be able to say, wait a minute, we saw Scott on that programme.
You saw it here first.
Give them your support. Thanks for giving up your time on a Sunday night to come on and join us. That's fantastic, Scott. Take care and all the best for the future. Cheers, sir. Cheers. Man, great playing there at the end. Oof.
Yep.
I wish I could play like that again. That would be good.
You could if you practiced.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah. Never mind. Anyway.
So,
imagine how good you and me'll be the next time we're at Braemar when we practice.
And we have got to practice together.
Oh, yeah, that's the difficult bit. Yeah, but there's a flight direct for Shetland to Dundee starting next year. So you might get me every weekend.
We could just do the show Dundee.
Well, yeah, we could try that, and then I can get piping again. I could join a band with you down there. Everything get going again.
More than welcome. Before we go any further, a good friend of the show got in contact with us. You did mention a minute ago, Mr. Is it Ross McNaughton? No, Ross McNaughton. That's what it is. Ross McNaughton. Ross McNaughton.
Oh, that's that fellow. The fellow who put Lockery away.
The guy with the beard.
I am. Yeah.
And he asked me to play this video. So let's see this video and we'll talk about it afterwards.
But did he ask you to play Highland Cathedral again? Is that what he asked for?
He doesn't pay enough for that. Here we go. Let's see what he's saying.
Hello and welcome to Pitlochry. Next year in 2022, Pitlochry Highland Games will celebrate its 170th anniversary. And to help mark this occasion, we are going to run a piping composition competition. This competition will be for 4 parts of any time signature and open to any musician who can play and write pipe music.
So yeah, the details. I was just checking them out there. The competition rules.
Did that say 500? Well,
£500, yeah. Wrong key.
I've got a couple of bars there already. There you go, folks. What a wonderful company. Actually, so what's the best way for folk to enter that? If you can go into that.
Yep, go to that website and scroll down and click on pipe tune composition entry form. It tells you that the closing date is the 30th of April 2022. The winner will be announced no later than 1 month prior to the Highland Games in 2022. And the winning composition will be played by the composer or nominated piper at the 2022 Pitlochry Highland Games. Perth.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Gate crasher. This should make a nice spawn, wouldn't it? Should make a nice spawn.
Make a nice loo brush.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, that's a great competition, but I also think a great thing there was, if you noted, he was saying any musician can write the pipe tune. You don't have to be a piper.
Yep. Nope.
But you'd obviously get somebody to write the pipe music. But it's a 4-part tune. And it could be any musician. And I think Ross highlighted that really well there. He played the Freeland Barber tune. Freeland's an accordion player. And that was the tune he was playing there. So, brilliant. There you go.
If anyone wants to enter a tune that's not a piper and wants the piping stuff to be done, please send it in and we'll give you a hand.
Yeah, well, Davie will give you a hand. Because I've sent a couple to Davie that I've written and you've put notation in for me, which is really handy. Mm-hmm. So we'll help it with that because we're good guys. We're good guys. Right, Luna says, evening, everyone. Evening, everyone. Right, our next guest that's coming on, a very, very busy man. He has been for the whole of the lockdown. He's been involved with all sorts of things that we're going to, most of them legal, that we're going to get in touch with, and we'll bring him on. No, I'm only joking when I say that. And he's just finished the show himself tonight, earlier on there, on Radio GH, which a lot of you will know is an incredible channel that is doing so much, so we'll talk to him about it later because it's just growing and growing and getting bigger and bigger. So let's introduce all the way from the South End of Scotland, Mr. Ewan Galloway.
Good evening.
Hello, how are you doing? All right.
Not bad, yeah. It's been a busy weekend.
Isn't it always?
Is that
Tiger has seen the dog and ran out the door.
I was hoping Tiger would come on tonight as well. Tiger's the cat. He's famous cat. He'll be back.
No chance.
He's just bribed with dreamies.
Has the Stagger Inn got psychedelic lighting at the back there now and everything?
It just keeps expanding. In fact, I'm looking at I'm making a new house soon.
Bro, listen, how are you getting on?
Yeah, really well, thanks. It's just been for such a period of time of lockdown. It's just been the busiest time ever, to be honest.
I know. You've done incredibly well. You've just been on all the time and keeping folk all over the world entertained. And I've watched right to the beginning when you were on, and your fan club's got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Your views are incredible. But you have done such a lot for it, and my total admiration to you because what you've been doing is pure quality. And absolutely fantastic. Well done. Congratulations to you, sir.
Thanks very much. That's really kind of you. Just enjoy it, and the main thing is that everyone else enjoys it. And that was the whole thing, is that the Stagger Inn evolved. I mean, looking back at the beginning, I think this room's been changed about 20 times. I could get a job at Pickford's. But no, it started off, well, you've seen the beginning with maybe an hour every night, and we had about maybe 30 or 40 people. And then it's just a case of word of mouth and people finding out that's somewhere that they can go and try to keep a regular time. And out came the Stagger Inn, and then everything since the Stagger Inn came about just evolved, and it was like a big spider's web.
And tell us, because there'll be many viewers probably, there'll be quite a few tonight probably that don't actually know what the Stagger Inn is. the Staggering is a bar in your house. And the idea was everybody comes to the bar for a drink. And it's become like a big social family, though, isn't it? I watch the chats going on, and it's almost like they're all talking about anything. They're talking about Dustbin Day and kippers and who had eggs for breakfast, and just anything can come up, and that it's just amazing. Off they go, you know.
Do you know, though, that's the best thing about it, though, is that there's so many people that don't know each other, and the fact that you can come into a chat room and speak to people and say, have a seat, what would you like to drink? We've got sandwiches, we've got tuna and jam. It's one of the sandwiches. We have a virtual raffle. We've had prizes like broken light bulbs, right-handed screwdrivers. But the fact is, it gives someone somewhere to go that maybe lives on their own, maybe lives away, miles away from anyone else. And the fact that they can all go on and speak to each other and friends, and hopefully once this is all over, people will be encouraged to go out and see each other again and meet new friends.
I mean, the way I'm looking at it, I hope to still be able to do a wee bit of both, and I think you're planning the same, because we've seen that the people that were isolated before this COVID even came along, and we're finding out that you know, there was a lot of people getting in touch with me saying, oh, if this all gets better, we're not going to have anything to listen to anymore, you know. And you were like, no, I think we'll try and keep a bit going of everything for you. Obviously, we might not can do it as much, like every second night or something, but we'll still keep it one a week or something going.
I think that's really important. There's mixed views on it from different musicians throughout the scene. However, I feel that there's a lot of people who have sadly got slightly older in lockdown, who are struggling to get out more. And this music online has become an absolute lifeline to them. And on top of that, the publicity that it's given the type of music from any band that's playing online is phenomenal, because there's now 400 people more that maybe know about our type of music and will be willing to go and give it a shot. Whereas before, really for Scottish dance music, I don't think there was enough on the internet to publicise it and say, we are here.
Virtually nothing. And I think Tunes in the House, when they come and they go and they follow, and they got as big a surprise themselves as any. They didn't realise there was so many people out there that actually liked the music but didn't have any access to it. You know, so it's just the way it's going, you know. Anyway, right, let's have a wee set of tunes for yourself. What have I got on the list first? So sorry, I was just writing a 6/8 march there to enter into the competition. We're going to have I was going to say the Virgin Reel, but it's not. It's the Virginia Reel, and because it was in Shetland, so it must be the Virginia Reel.
Yeah, this was the last festival, wasn't it? Before lockdown, it was the first. I've been up at the festival 10 times, and it was on the 10th year that we got to take the band up, and the dance was just absolutely phenomenal. And it's something that we'll never forget. And this set of tunes, we wrote specifically a brand new set for every dance for the Clickerman. So this is one of my favourite sets of the
and of course, the Clickerman dance, for all you viewers out there that's listening, is the kind of big night at the end. Well, kind of in the middle, there's a concert on the Sunday, but it's the big night after 2 nights of concerts for the Accordion Fiddle Festival. They have a grand dance where all the bands that are up as guest plays, so including local bands and visiting bands, will have about 11, 12 bands on a night playing, which is quite... In fact, there was one year, there was a wedding party, just booked their wedding and came to the grand dance. And they got 11 bands. What a way to do it, eh? Not bad. But it's a great night. Always has been a great night. And let's have this Virginia Reel. That's my magic. Here we go. Hey, excellent. Great. There we go. The good old days, eh?
Yeah, the Virginia Reel's just one of the best dances, isn't it? You can play
Have
anything,
you managed
really.
to do a few gigs again now? Have you been out a couple of times? Then?
Yeah, it started getting quite busy. I was certainly out 2 weekends ago. I was out Friday night playing, then had a wedding Saturday, a wedding Sunday, and then the following weekend picked up another wedding really quickly. I think it's just people haven't been too sure what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the most interesting ones I've done, the first gig back, was for the Fringe, and we were playing in one of the halls, and there were 75, basically, probably uni students, and they came in, and the caller says, "Right, we've got to wear our masks and stuff. I would prefer that you do that, and just wash your hands between dances." And we'll only be doing round the room dances. And I thought, how's this go work? After the second dance, there was partner swapping, there was no masks on, there was Arcadian strip.
That was it. Yeah.
And that was it. And you know what? I keep saying to myself, and I've got to say this because I've got to get back out. There's got to be a way that we can move forward. And I keep saying, I've had my 2 Jags. How much more safer can I be? There's a limit, I think, and I've just got to get back out there. And I've been taking regularly, in the middle of a week, I've been taking one of the PCR tests, just so if I've been playing the weekend before, I know I'm ready before the weekend after. And it's
gin helps as well, I'm led to believe.
Gin, whiskey, I know that one helps. I'm not sure what
that's right, because if you can't taste it, you've probably got COVID.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm told in the Stagger in last night. I haven't seen this yet, but my mother-in-law told me today. Our wee boy Angus, it's his birthday on Tuesday, and he had a bit of a party today, and Granny and them were done. And he was. She was telling me the Stagger Inn had 2 guests last night. She said, and I said, "Oh, who was that?" And she said, "Oh, the McFadgen lasses." And I said, "Oh, yes, we've had them on the show too." And she said, "Oh, there you go. See," and she said, "I think there was maybe a few gins passed by through the night."
I was on the whiskey side of the bar.
All right. Well, you need some sanity. But it's been an absolute. The one thing I wanted to ask you about here that's absolutely blowing my socks off. I've never seen such huge numbers on this show for ages. It's just went crazy here. So you're a star, young man. You're a star, and please keep sharing it out there, the folks. If you can share it, that would be wonderful. This is going to be great fun tonight. We've got quite a few sets coming up for you. Yeah, lemonades, Peter. Yeah, lemonades. Yeah, cup of tea. Cup of tea is not bad. So I wanted to say to you, one of the things that we sometimes find, you're in the business of putting on shows as well. Sometimes you're working away and there's a television program comes on or something like that gets right in the way of your show and you see the numbers dropping. Now, for the past few Sundays, it's been the new BBC production, Vigil.
Vigil, right? Yeah.
And you've taken on Vigil here. You're taking them on.
Peter, don't remind them.
No, I'm not reminding them. I bet you the numbers are going to go up. Look, the numbers just went up a bit. Everybody went, "Oh, I forgot Ewan was on."
It's going down again. It's up.
I don't want to. Don't write what happens on Vigil. I'll watch it after.
No, nothing about Vigil. And remember, just hit the record button for Vigil. This is live. This is it. You don't get more exclusive than this. But the thing is, Vigil and yourself, and a wee bit away, the sea to you is a great part of your life because you're high. Do you run the Sea Cadets now down where you are or something?
It's I'm in the transition period, so I was working this out the other day, but I've been in the Sea Cadets for 19 years. I joined when I was 12 as a cadet, worked my way up, became staff, probationary petty officer, chief petty officer, and now a sub-lieutenant. And currently first lieutenant, which means second in charge. So there's a building in Edinburgh, some people might know it. It's on Granton roundabout. And it's called the Claver House, and it's where the RNR used to be based during the war. And we have our presence in there. So that's our Sea Cadet unit, TS Trinity. And just currently in the middle of transitioning to become the commanding officer, which is a massive step for me. It's something that if I don't do it, I'll kick myself for not doing it. At the same time, these are the main two things in my life, music and sea cadets. So I've got to struggle about a bit, and I'll make it work somehow.
Yeah, well, hats off to you, because it's a huge thing to take on, but also a brilliant thing for so many young people to get involved with right through. And you know, it's a wonderful organisation, and just the whole model of the thing's brilliant.
I have to say that the cadets that come into the unit at 12-year-old, and when you see them leave at 18 years old as young adults, and what the Sea Cadets has done for them, including the likes of, at the same time as being in Sea Cadets, you're getting Duke of Edinburgh, BTEC awards, communication awards, stuff that can all go in CVs. And a lot of our cadets will leave and get jobs a lot quicker. Definitely because of the experience they've had, the self-discipline, the loyalty. It's a massive thing for young kids to join, but it's trying to encourage more to do it.
Well, that's a great job you're doing there, working with the ones that are coming in anyway. Fantastic, great stuff. We're going to have another wee set of tunes. Here's a set of pipe tunes this time in the box.
This is an interesting set. So when you asked me for some videos, I was like, what do I send? So I picked a few different ones to try and represent different things. So the first one was the band. And I must say a special thanks to Derek Hamilton, because over lockdown, just before lockdown, Derek's had a heart attack. And he's taken the period over lockdown to step down, take a back seat, but he's still working very hard at Radio GH all the time. So he's taking a backseat from the band. So the first one was to feature the band as it was. The next one it's a set of me playing along with myself, because there was no one else that I could have a tune with in lockdown until tunes came along.
It's great, and I think this is what we wanted to highlight with yourself, as you're a survivor. You've done this. You had the full band. Most people have seen you doing the solo thing, so that's why it was good to get some band videos on tonight and things as well, to folks seeing you with the band. So what's the tunes we're getting here?
It'll come up in the introduction, hopefully.
All right, I'll give you a clue. It starts with a Many Argyle.
And then it'll be the Ladies from Hell. Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
Oh, they go quite well. And then what's the last one? Whistle Over the Lio.
That's right. Sean Drews. Right, brilliant. Here we go. Enjoy, folks. Have a wee gay Gordon from the hoose. Yeah, well done, Cliff. Well done.
I like some of the comments there. I've actually got a cloning machine just there in the corner here. If you want 5, I can...
something out this. Something out the Star Trek Enterprise. Here we go. Morning machine. No, brilliant, really good, nice tunes, lovely playing. It's just so interesting seeing so many folk joining in here and seeing how much they've appreciated you doing all your work that you've done right through this as well. So you deserve every success that's coming your way. Just doing a lot of work. But one of the things I asked you to come on to speak about was during lockdown as well. You've had albums out, and we'll speak about that in a wee while as well. But you've also brought this book out, a new book of tunes, which I'm very interested to hear about. And I'm going to have to get a copy as well because I've not got one yet. But tell me, where did this idea come from?
So there's
Staggering, probably. Staggering.
It is from the Staggering. There's a lot of fans there. There's a lot of really nice people. One lady in particular that I must give special mention to is Sarah Horn, and I know that she's tuned in today. She's actually driven today from Blackburn right up to Bonner up in Scotland. And she just got there at 8 o'clock in time for Tartan Tunes starting. Sarah's been a wealth of ideas.
Wait, is that to get a better reception, like, or something? It's a reception bad, so she has to drive to the other end of the country to get.
Try and get closer to Shetland to pick the signal up. Sarah's been full of ideas, and it's really fantastic. It actually started off, before it even got to a book stage, it started off with this, which is a poem. Sarah has loads of these ideas to make poems. So this one's an ode to Friday fun night at the Staggering with you and Galloway and Tiger. And what it does is it just sums up exactly what it is. Like, it's Friday night, it feels just right to go to the pub, my social hub. In COVID times, it's not a sin to visit the wonderful Staggering. And it goes on about the sandwiches, the beer, the music, the dancing, everything's on the towel. So we came up with the idea to get a nice towel made with a picture of Tiger on it, of course, because it wouldn't go anywhere without finger. And it went really well. And not long after that, Sarah says, got an idea. And I went, oh, another one? And she says, what about getting a book of dances devised? Why don't we look at it? The first idea was to put it to everyone at Staggering. I thought, yes and no. I says, we might end up with like 78 jigs, dances that are jigs. So we did select a few people. And what we done is I spoke to Sarah and I said, you'd be better looking at the dance devisers. And what would be really nice, instead of using alternative tunes like Miss Mary Printy, JB Mill, stuff like that, stuff that's already been used, I says I think it's really important to encourage musicians and people to use musicians and get them to write a new tune to go with the dance. So we're not using tunes that are maybe already in sets that we've played for 10 years. So we set to it, I think this was about March, we set to it. It's been ongoing for a long time. And we got involved then to Amanda Peart, who does the Sunday class. She's got a website, sundayclass.org. And Amanda's made a few books and CDs for her website before. So we got together, we got working on it, and we started putting the ideas into it. The ideas from my point of view is that it had to have not just dances and music. It had to have some pictures. It had to have some colour. It had to represent some memories of what the last 2 years has been. So lo and behold, we got the book, and it's 12 new country dances in it. But it's got forward, and the first bit you come to is not the same poem on the tea towel, but it's a poem about the book, and it explains. It explains why we've got all the dances and where they are, and it actually runs in order from Welcome to the Staggering, the Instraspy, the Barmaid's Jig for the wonderful barmaids, the Young Accordion Man, I don't know who that's for, Tiger Two-Step, the Midnight Medley, Demo Dandy Dancers, the Davie Reel, which has been very popular, Staggering Reel, 2 a.m. jig, last orders, and then staggering home. So it sums up the night, the sort of ideal night at the pub. So if I give you a show inside the book, it's probably better. So we've got some pictures on each page.
Yeah.
The tune is, we've all had a new tune for each dance.
Yeah.
It's hard holding this up. I need someone to come in. There's the bar stuff at the bottom in there. Fancy dress. Virtually, of course.
Virtually, yeah.
We've got some pictures. The most important one's probably that one there. I think if we didn't have that in, it would just end up a disaster. So yeah, we've went about, and on the back, some quotes from Facebook over the past 2 years. Obviously, with Tiger having the most likes.
Yeah, Tiger's in there. He's a star.
And then the back is everyone that's been involved in the making of the book. It's really nice to have a silhouette. So you can't have a book.
One thing about the back of the book was, I must have seen this before somewhere, because somebody said Derek Hamilton's the bullseye there.
Well, Derek's watching tonight, so I don't know if he's got a sort of head.
I'm going to talk to you about Radio GH in a wee while as well, but tell me the tunes there then. Who's composed the tunes?
So we've got, the easiest way to do this would be to whiz through the book and tell you, so you've got some ideas of the name. So the first dance is devised by John Burrows, who comes from down at the Ribble Valley branch for the country dancing, and the tune was written by Derek Hamilton for that one, called the Staggering Reel. The Instra Spey was a tune written by Marian Anderson.
Yes,
and that dance was devised by Lucy Mulholland. Another one by Jill, and the tune is actually called Chief Gary, our bar manager. So Gary Tate was a chief in the Royal Navy, and he fell into the category of being the perfect person to be the bar manager for the Staggering with previous naval experience. And that tune's written by Alan Barnett, who's on tonight.
British Columbia.
And staying over in Canada, the next dance, Young Accordion Man, devised by Ruth Taylor, with a tune written by Mike Murray, who comes from Barnard Castle. Mike has never written a tune in his life, and I phoned him up.
But never mind that. How's his eyesight?
So I think it's good. He never wrote a tune, and I says to him, and he couldn't sleep that night, and he just pretty much stayed up and wrote a tune. So he called it the first and the last. So it's the first and last. We've got a dance by John Caskey, MBE, who's celebrating his birthday today as well.
Oh, happy birthday, John! Great guy, wonderful guy.
And that's a round the room dance, so it's not a country dance in particular. So it's a good one for Kayleigh as are warming up. Amanda Peart wrote Ewan's Midnight Medley with 2 tunes by the McFadden sisters, Susan and Shona.
Oh yeah.
Probably had enough of seeing me this weekend.
the lemonade drinkers.
Up to Aberdeen for a dance, the Demo Dandy Dancers by Sheila Bain.
Yes, Sheila's done a lot of the programmes all the time, isn't she? A great follower. She's been a great supporter of Oberon.
I think this is one of my favourite ones. It's the Trowie Reel. With Smirk's permission, we've got a great picture and Trowie's all over it. And I had to write a 16 bar for Spey, so I just called it The Wildest Pests. And then we've got nearly there. Sarah Horn wrote the Stagger Dream with a tune by Jim Stott from Aberdeen. Got a jig by Robert Whitehead from Northumberland. Judith Knights at the Stagger Inn. One for the Road is by Bill Ewan, who's also been an absolute stalwart over the last 2 years.
But Bill's been a hero, and the charity work he's done in this album lately, the amount of money he's donated to charity is incredible. What a hero, absolutely. Great piano player. The
last one, Staggering Hames by Jane and Brian Rose with a tune by Ian Robertson. But yeah, if you want your CD to sell out within a week and a half, just get Bill to sell it for you.
Gee, well, it's what the man. But you know, great piano player. He's done absolutely brilliant. He's played piano with you in the band for quite a while, and he's playing on this next track. Let's fire into the next track. That sounds like a wonderful book, folks. Where's the best bit? Just jump onto your website to buy it, Ewan?
Or the SundayClassDance.org. But you'll get in touch. There's a CD to go with it as well.
Right, brilliant.
It's got the virtual 5-piece band on it, so to speak.
Brilliant, fantastic. So book and CD there, folks. There's something for Christmas for the stockings. It's not that long to Christmas, guys. Yeah.
It's actually getting quite amazing. I think the last time we spoke at the beginning of lockdown, when we had Tartan Tunes, it was sunny outside and it's pitch black.
Yeah. Well, it's a year past it. We're over a year and a bit now with all this.
Yeah.
Doing it about a year and a half. It's amazing. Hope you've got Tiger a good Christmas present this year.
I'm sure he'll be spoiled.
Yeah. He's stuck by you through the whole thing. Here's a wee set of tunes, one that loads of folk just love. The Craic from Clashmore Hall by Phil Cunningham. And we'll talk about the rest after. Here we go. Well done, guys. Well, Cunningham student, the Craic at Clashmore Hall, Ewan Galloway and his Scottish dance band. Absolutely fantastic, getting tunes like that. And the one and only Bill Ewan was on the piano. What's that?
Yeah, and it followed it's a lot of people play the Kiwi Pipers, but I quite like it with the Crossing the Minch.
Crossing the Minch, nice, yeah. Well, I was going to say quite a lot of folk do that, but it's nice to hear it with the Minch as well. Yeah, good. And then Karen on second accordion there. Karen's a great second box player.
Yeah, I've not heard from Karen for a while. Hopefully she's doing okay and well. But that was actually taken at Dunbar Music Festival. And when I started playing the accordion, I was taught by John Leslie, who lives in Dunbar. So really, when I go back to sort of the beginning of playing, it's always sort of been from Dunbar, West Barnes that I really like to go back to. And and we visit. So every New Year's Day, apart from COVID times, I host a session in West Barnes Bowling Club, and we just invite everyone, musicians, and we all just play from 2 till late.
Really that was Kyle Ennis on drums there.
Yeah, Kyle's doing really well too.
Very talented player as well, good accordion player as well, and he's done videos as well and bits and pieces over lockdown. And the one and only, the legend himself, Mr. Andrew Knight, on the fiddle there.
Yeah,
some boy. Some nights with Andrew.
We never really had a fiddle player officially properly in the band until a few years ago. We've sort of had mix and match in 1 or 2. We had Ian Anderson stepped in at the beginning for quite a lot, and then we had a few tunes with other people. But you know, when you get a fiddle player and you play with them and it just sits and you gel and you play exactly the same and you feel it. Well, that's me and Andrew. We can play a set of 2/4s without worrying where the dots and dashes are.
And of course, Andrew, well, he's a good fiddle player because he comes from Dundee, of course, originally.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, it is.
So, did you know that? There you go, Andrew Knight's a Dundonian. He was always a great fan. He loved Angus Fitchett and folk like that, you know, he liked all that kind of playing. So, but Andrew's great to hear. Tell us, Radio GH, it's getting bigger and bigger. You're offering more and more programmes daily, it seems. I'm just waiting on the greatest hits one coming out or something. You know?
Yeah, it's an absolute delight to work with so many different people who are interested in doing shows. I mean, it started off. We've had the Shindig. The Shindig's 10 years old this year, which started off down in Gala Shields for 8 years, and then after that, petrol's just going up and down there all the time. When you add it up, it's actually quite a lot of money when it's all voluntary. And I think a lot of people sometimes don't realise that Radio GH is actually completely voluntary. There's no wages in it or anything like that. But
I mean, it was you and Derek that started it. Derek Hamilton. I've always really admired Derek right through my musical career. Actually, he's a great musician and knows what he's doing. And when he bites into an idea like this, he does it well, and that's what he does. You know.
Yeah. So, well, Radio GH came about with the surnames Galloway and Hamilton, or as wee Annie up in Shetland likes to say, Glickett and Hackett. But anyway, she'll but yeah, we had the Shindig, and then we were doing some other shows. We were doing some Scottish mixes to try and keep it going 24 hours a day, to make it one station that plays mainly Scottish music all the time, because there's nothing else that does it. You get Take the Floor on Saturday night, you get the odd show here and there. There's nothing on TV. And then the idea came about to try and expand it and add more presenters with different shows. So Seamus, who was on the other week, which I have to say was a brilliant interview, I watched it today.
It was great having him on as well.
He came on board, Touch of Irish, so it's another new show. Amanda's now doing a specialist country dance show aimed at Scottish country dancers. And the more and more we expand, there's more variety, and we don't have to play the same show as many times within the week. So and you can listen to it all week. So we just need someone to do a pipe show now, and we'll be sorted.
Davie?
No, I think I left the gas on.
Very good, David. Well, there you go. You're expanding that all the time. And a name that came up on earlier that I must want to mention was Susan Power, because Susan had said about getting a book, and there's 2 or 3 times. Susan's a great pal. There's Susan. Susan's a great pal of yours, of course, and sometimes if I send a text to you and can't get a hold of you, I just message Susan and say, get you in to get his phone on, would you, or something like that. You know, yeah, I'll sort it out, you know.
Susan's our worthy secretary for Radio G.
Shona McFadden's nominated you as well, Davey. There you go. Get your records out, boy.
Free votes. Yeah, Susan actually collates all the requests through the week. She does all the posts to remind people when the shows are on. And to be honest, It's a lifesaver for me and Derek. So, for example, tonight there was about 24 requests or something for the show. And instead of us having to look through the comments on the right here, she actually puts them into a Facebook chat window. And as me and Derek play them, she puts a thumbs up. And we just literally work our way down. But it's a a big help when you're getting busy shows. So it's really good.
Yeah, well, the admin side of it's just about as busy. I can't even Davie and me. We bounce it just between us, getting our stuff ready. Yep, okay, David, no more. And
I can
you see that? You're really getting the comments now, Davie.
I just heard Davie typing.
Aye.
I think he was putting his application in.
It's all right. He's having a bit of bother with his camera with the battery going. So if he does disappear, we've just to kid on his radio. He'll still be there. This could be your addition. This could be your addition with you for the show if you just work away quietly in the background.
Yeah.
But no, Susan and people like that keeping the show going, you know, is just absolutely fantastic, you know. And that takes up a lot of time because you guys are doing that a lot as well. But you're doing a really good job of it as well. It's brilliant to see. Watch the show.
It's actually really interesting. The sort of me and Derek bounce off each other, but there's two things that we do. Derek focuses mainly on the scheduling side of things, making sure all the shows are going out on time, and that takes a lot of work and a lot of time. And we're busy learning all the time how to automate that. So that's something we're doing. And I, at this end, tend to do the databasing side. So like the records behind the CDs, and we put them all into a system where we can both get access to them. And that lockdown's been fantastic for that, for giving me time to actually sit and work my way through LPs, CDs. Yeah. So we've got just over 50,000 odd tracks.
Wow.
So it's usually quite rare if someone asks for something that we've not got. So it's quite
well, that's very, very good. I'm going to have another reset here now. You're not need to tell us very much about this because there's actually an intro on this video. And I just left it on because I thought, well, there's no point in us repeating everything twice. And it was just to show Mark Robinson and Weasdale that you've got more than one jumper as well.
I forgot about this intro at the beginning, actually, until you mentioned it there. This was recorded for the Aberdeen branch Country Dance Night. They had their last final Zoom party night on about 3-4 weeks ago and asked me if I would put some dances together. So it's quite handy that it's got the intro. Great.
Here it is. We'll just roll it. Here we go, Beldovan.
The next set of reels for the dance, the Beldovan Reel, which is the first time I've ever played the Beldovan Reel, and it's a really catchy tune. It's a set of reels 4 times through, and the original tune is the Beldovan Reel, which is written by Betty Lowe, followed by 3 traditional tunes again. We have Lassie Come and Dance With Me, or Lassie Come and Dance and Sing, followed by Babes in the Wood, and the last tune in this set of reels, seeing as we're up north tonight, it's the Back of Benachie.
Yeah. That was very interesting. The last couple of comments there, I noticed Sheila Benson, the whole thing's on YouTube if folk want to watch it. And that last comment there, I didn't catch what the name was. Sarah. Sarah is Sarah. Sarah was saying about you doing the weekly one for the country dancing as well, where folks submitted what dances they'd like, and you put together a country dance program.
That was at the end of last year. I thought we got all this great music online, but it would be great to get Scottish country dancing involved and try and do a bit of publicity for that. And again, another great idea. And then we put it out to country dance clubs. If you've got a program of 9 dances, send them to us. We'll tell you a wee bit about the club, where it is, and we'll play the dances that you would do at your club. And we went. We done 30. I think it was about 36 nights in the end of country dancing, which was really good fun.
Yeah, but the other thing is, do you not think, and I kind of feel it's not been too bad going out to play in the last couple of nights, because I have been playing right through lockdown. There's some players have never touched their instruments hardly right through lockdown, and they're going to find it a wee bit hard going back to it just for a wee bit,
Yeah. I've heard that a few times from some people that haven't played for so long, and then just suddenly picked it up, and they're like, "Whoa!"
But it's enough to put some people off. Some people are saying, "I'll just not bother now again," and it's a shame that, because they should just go for it again.
The first thing that I got a fright with when I went back out playing was actually the volume of the PA system, because I wasn't used to turning it up. Oh, is it too loud? But it wasn't really. It was okay.
The biggest shock I got was trying to get back into my black trousers. That was like, oh my god!
I think we're all in that position.
So that was that. But no, it's been fantastic. But see, some of these nights that you did do, they went on for hours. What was your longest one? Did you not have one that was away about 6 hours long one night or something?
To be honest, last night's was the longest Staggering. We were 6.5 hours.
That's incredible. And
I think,
as you say, you're not making any. One thing I've always admired totally about yourself was, I know there's a lot of folk had the pages set up for donations, and someone set one up for you. You didn't set that up yourself, but you never pushed through your shows or anything. Please donate, or anything like that.
No, that frustrates me a wee bit. Yeah,
but you've done really well, and it's not like you're just saying to everybody all the time, "Just watch me if you pay me," kind of stuff.
I've always said that people should be encouraged to watch, and it's not compulsory to donate. The thing is that you've actually got someone watching. You're in a roundabout way. You're keeping their health, even their mental health, really positive just by listening to music. And if they can, it's great. And people know that I appreciate it a lot. But it's not something that I would keep saying. I just don't think that you need to do that. It's not.
No, I have great admiration for you, that approach you've taken to it. So it's very good. And what was I going to plans? Any immediate plans, or just try to slope back into it again?
Yeah, so the gigs are starting to come in. Next year's starting to get busy, which is good. I think there's still a few people humming and hawing. It's the hardest thing is saying I'm booked to someone when you really want to play as many as you can. So there's two things coming up. One is the Staggering. I said there's two things left for the Staggering really before the end of the year. We've got some t-shirts coming, and then there's one more idea which again Sarah came up with, which I just think is absolutely fantastic, and that is that we've got some pin badges coming that look like this.
The Staggering pin badges.
So the whole reason for the badge is that if everyone has one and wears one, I'm hoping that with this is Sarah as well, that people will be encouraged to go and say, "Oh, Staggering, nice to meet you. I'm Ewan. Oh, you're Sarah. Oh, nice to meet you." Get people going back out, get people socialising again, get them speaking to each other and making new friends. I think that's what it's all about. But after that,
anybody that you meet, you could make a wee kind of, you could have a wee disclaimer at the bottom. Anybody you meet that has a Stagger, they have to buy you a drink. I think that would be fair.
I don't know.
You might never play again, right enough.
Dad keeps saying that, was it the chief medical officer for Scotland was on the phone the other day. He says, we're just wondering if we can provide the stagger in as part of a repeat prescription to people.
That's a great compliment.
Either that or I've put the admissions up for the AA meetings. But yeah, after that, I think once the turn of the year comes, certainly it's going to be harder playing every Friday night, but I've vowed that I would keep going. So I'm aiming to do 2 or 3, definitely 2 a month. We've got a Take the Floor broadcast coming out sometime, I think next month, October. Which I'm
you've done them before though, haven't you?
Yeah, this will be, I think this is my 5th one now. And it was a delight to do because I managed to finally get John Delaney to join us.
Oh, magic! Yeah,
make a 6-piece band, which has been a dream, and to let Bill actually play the real McCoy.
Yeah. And you can't get much better a double bass player than John Delaney either. He knows what he's doing.
A great gentleman too, really good.
Great fun. His dad, Jack, was just a lovely man as well. Anyway, listen, thank you so much for coming on and telling us all what you've got up to a wee bit again, and it doesn't sound like you're actually really going to stop. We're going to play out with a wee set from you here tonight, and we'll get you on very briefly after it, just to say cheerio and thank you. But here's a wee set at an accordion club this time, and I left this one to last because you start off with "No What to Bide About," which is really not a tune that you should play, because I don't think folk are ever going to really get rid of you, to be honest. So.
This was sometimes what we do is I try once normal times, or I try and do some odd charity events to fundraise. So we've done some fundraising for the radio stations. We've done a fundraising for the Sea Cadets, and what we do is make profit on the door, and it all goes to the charity. And I try and do 2 or 3 a year, and it's basically like an informal accordion club, but not an official one. And I always think that finishing with a Stramash is just the greatest. So.
Well, some players just love to go and play a Stramash. It makes them out, and folk love the sound of a Stramash. It's a very tunes in the house type thing, isn't it?
It's big.
So, it's big. So here we are. Here we go. Let's go for that, and then we'll speak to you very briefly when we come back. Magic.
He's arrived as I give him creamies.
Well done, brilliant. Ewan, listen, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's been utterly fantastic having you on. I think we're very like-minded, thinking people about how it's went, and we've actually probably spoken to each other more in the lot than we have, and I can't wait to get a tune in real life when we go to do it.
That'll be great.
It's going to be really good fun. You've been an absolute ambassador for the music. You've done really, really well. And I think there's a lot of people who will be listening to the music out there that weren't before. So I think you've achieved your goal. And I played a wee tune to that lady in Braemar, and just herself, she asked me to play Scapa Floater, and I played it the other day. And making that one person happy was job done for me. That was just magic.
One piece of advice I got was play for your public.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You must do that. There's no point in kidding on a fancy tune that nobody can whistle back or anything like that. So it's really good. Listen, thank you so much. You better go and look for Tiger, since my ferocious dog scared them off. Oh, he's back. There he is. He's back. Tiger, meet Luna the dog. You would never know this is a dog. It's just a kind of fluffball thing.
No, I must say thanks to you and Davie for inviting me and giving me the time to come on and have a chat to you and catch up. It's I think what you do here on a Sunday night is also equally brilliant, you know, and everyone really enjoys watching what you do and all the different guests that you have each night. And I certainly enjoyed listening to Scott's interview before as well. But I'll catch up with you, Peter, and Davie, I'll give you a shout for that job at Radio GH.
You're a good lad. Thanks, Ewan. Take care of yourself, sir. Bye to you and Tiger. Go and buy Tiger a treat. See you after.
Brilliant.
Absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. What a great guy. Great guy. He's done so well right through this whole thing. You know, Ewan gave up his job as a postman about 2 weeks before we went into lockdown to go full time.
Oh dear.
So none of us it's his fault. None of us knew what was going to happen. But for him to get through that, he's done great, and I think he's done such a sterling job. I can't see him being out of work ever now. I think he's going to play forever. That's fantastic. Look at this dog. What's that James Bond film that the guy sits and claps the cat?
Most of them.
Is that no Goldfinger or something?
I've been expecting you, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, look at this. Anyway, listen, you were going to, in case your camera did cut off or anything, tell us a wee bit about you had a wee something you wanted to tell us about.
Aye, so this coming Saturday there is a live event on Facebook. I say live, it's pre-recorded. It's a concert of piping. There's 8 pipers. 8 pipers, including some of our previous guests. We've got Ali Levac, myself, Ross Ainsley, Ali Hutton, Brian May, Derek Marr, and they're all playing Derek's pipes. So pipes that Derek Marr made. You can find more information on Facebook. It's a free event. I think we're looking at about 1:30, 2 o'clock on Saturday, 18th September.
Something to watch out for, folks.
Yeah,
really nice to hear that. You're in with good company there, sir.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Yeah. I make a small appearance, and we have a previous guest comparing as well. We've got Big Rab from the Big Rab show.
Oh, Big Rab, why so
yeah, so it should be good. Should be a good show.
So that's something else we can watch out for next Saturday.
Next Saturday, yeah, from next Saturday afternoon, UK time.
If you fancy some piping, folks, there you go. Listen, we'll go tonight because we're running late, but that has been a fantastic show. I have really enjoyed it. I hope you have it home too. And we've got 2 fab guests for you next week again, because we always do. We always say that. We've got another 2. It's been the most interesting year and a half of meeting people I've ever had. It's just been utterly fantastic. A lot of people I knew, but some I don't, and it's really nice to meet these folks. So thank you so much to Scott tonight, Scott Figgin, and Ewan Galloway. Great guys. Thanks to you, Davie, and thanks for coming. Thanks to coming to meet me at Braemar the other day. It was great.
Well, you promised a free lunch, so.
Yeah, we got it. Dale came with it. What a nice man Dale is. Yeah.
Yes, that.
So watch out for Braemar Media as well. He's got a lot of fantastic videos on there if you want to see some of the videos. Go to Braemar Media. Look for that one on Facebook.
Yep.
It's got a lot for Braemar Highland Gathering and all sorts of things. Interesting stuff. Anyway, we'll go tonight. So thanks very much, folks. Have a successful week. Have a safe week wherever you are. And we'll see you next Sunday. 8 o'clock. Always put it in your diary. Every Sunday. We'll be here.
See you later.
Take care. Bye.